Good Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Fenstermaker. Welcome to the concert. We have a wonderful series this year. This is the second concert of 10. I hope you'll get a list of them when you leave. And this concert's going to be repeated also tomorrow afternoon. So if you like it, tell your friends to come tomorrow, the same concert. And you can come back too. We're so happy to have Seraphic Fire here. These young people are some of the finest singers in the country, coming from as far away as Los Angeles. And I did the math, and these young singers are literally, each one is 1 in a million. I mean, it's that rare to have singing of this quality. The beginning, the genesis of music came from the human voice, the purest form of music, the oldest form of music from which every other instrument came. And so tonight, this afternoon, we will hear the human voice, the purest form of music. I'd like to introduce the executive director of Seraphic Fire, Rhett Del Campo, who's going to tell you a little bit about the protocols of being a part of a recording, to be an audience of a recorded concert.
Thank you, John, and thank you very much to John and Moorings Park for having us back here. John was mentioning about our artists, and they're some of the best in the world, and this chapel is one of the best places for 13 voices to sing, so we're very happy to be doing our next recording right now. As you see these microphones, our next live recording. And somebody asked me just before, why do you do live recordings? Why not just do this in the studio? And my answer is always there's something organic yet intangible about a live performance, and an excitement that comes from us singing for you. And so you very much are going to be a part of our next recording, and we are very happy to have you here. Just a couple of notes, as John said, as we are recording. If you could hold your breath. That part I'm kidding. But this is a great acoustic, so we will hear everything. So please make sure that your phones are on silent and not vibrate. Make sure they're on silent. If you have to leave, there will be plenty of breaks in between in which James will pick up the microphone and speak, at which point if you need to leave, you are welcome to leave, and Judel, who's back there, will open the door for you, and JJ on the other side will make sure that everything is quiet out in the lobby, because we did notice during sound check that you can also hear very well what happens out in the lobby. If you have cough drops or candies, please unwrap them now. I have an embarrassing story about me being an audience member in a live recording in a hall that had a concrete floor that was graded, and I was a kid and I was addicted to Skittles, and my Skittles fell out of a hole in my pocket and just started dribbling down the aisle, so they nicknamed me Skittles after that. But please unwrap any wrappers or cough drops, and if you do have to sneeze or cough, please just do your best to stifle it, and we won't blame you. It happens, and we do have fantastic recording engineers that can edit things like that out. And also, if with your program books, I hear a cell phone already. Actually, that sounds like Find Your iPhone. I know that sound. If you have program books, please make sure to keep those quiet if you're turning the pages. And I know some of you have something at 5 p.m. Again, there will be breaks, plenty of time to leave. You'll know when those are, because James will turn around and talk. So please don't hesitate to leave when that is happening. And lastly, we of course never like to tell you when to clap. And we want you to clap when you enjoy something, but for the purposes of this performance, James will make it very obvious when it is okay to clap. If he is holding his hands up like this, he's still waiting for the sound to clear from the last note of the chorus, and then he will put his hands down like this, and when you see James's hands go down like this, you will know you can clap. Lastly, thank you again for having us here. It will be a fantastic concert, I know, and we, again, are very happy to have you a part of Seraphic Fire's next recording. So I believe the artists are ready, and I'd like to welcome James Bass and the exceptional artists of Seraphic Fire.
Christmas Day. Okay, hello, good afternoon, everyone. So glad to be here amongst you, and we are greatly appreciative of your special behavior for this concert. It's a little bit different situation, but we want you to know we're going to sing our hearts out for you no matter what. So my name is James Bass, and the remarkable musicians behind me are members of Seraphic Fire. This is, I don't know, we've been to this chapel, Bauer Chapel, so many times. It feels a little bit like our second home over here in Naples. We've recorded several of our recordings and CDs, including a previous Christmas recording, and now this brand new one here with you in the audience. And won't it be wonderful when you can tell your grandchildren as you're listening to this recording, listen, that's me being quiet on that recording. We began our concert today with a setting of I Saw Three Ships, done by Edwin Fissinger, who's the late choral conductor and educator, taught at South Dakota State University for many, many decades. And he wrote that piece for his college choir, and no recording of it exists except the South Dakota State Choir in 1973, the year I was born, for the record. So it's a long time ago. And then from there we went to the chant Adeste Fideles, which would have been heard at midnight for 1,000 years. The ringing of the bells, Christmas starts, and there it went to O Come All Ye Faithful, the harmonized version of that Gregorian chant. We go now to the oldest piece on this program and the longest piece on this program. This is a work by William Byrd. William Byrd was in the employ of Queen Elizabeth I, to give you time frame, and he was so loved by Queen Elizabeth that although Catholicism was illegal in England during her lifetime, as the Church of England had been begun, she allowed William Byrd, a Catholic, to continue to compose music from the Catholic style and for Catholic services, and even granted him a universal copyright in England to print and create music. That's how much he was loved. This piece, Lullaby My Sweet Little Baby, it begins with what we feel is Mary and the baby in the room, and the music is maybe Mary singing to the child and telling him to just sleep and be quiet. But then the piece goes into the story that we are most often hearing in the Coventry Carol, where we hear about King Herod and his anger and raging as he wants to kill all of the firstborn children. So this work by William Byrd we present to you now. All right. As I've told the audiences in Vermont, where we started this tour, and over in closer to downtown Naples last night, don't attempt that piece with your church choir. I know there's some excellent church choirs here in Naples, but that's a tough one. This next set of pieces are very special to us. They are all arranged by our founder and artistic director, Patrick Dupre Quigley. And each of them come from a slightly different tradition. The first one, Jesus, Jesus, Rest Your Head, is a melody that many of us have heard in probably lots of different iterations. This beautiful arrangement will feature John Buffett as our baritone soloist. From there we go to I Wonder as I Wander. This is a carol that comes from an Appalachian tradition, and John Jacob Niles, who was a composer, a musicologist, folk music specialist, this was back in the 1930s. He claims in his biography that he went to North Carolina in the middle of the Depression, and outside of a store there was a young girl who was sitting out on the sidewalk with a sign that said for 25 cents she would sing a verse of song. And John Jacob Niles says, 75 cents later I had all the material I needed to create this new carol. So this is a carol that comes from the Southern tradition, very, very beautiful. And in this setting, our soloist is Tivoli Treloar. And then from there, we go to a piece that actually has two sets of melodies in one work. Jesus en Pesebre gets back to our roots, our hometown roots of Miami, and then you'll hear the setting of Away in a Manger kind of mashed up with it. And our soloist for that will be Alex Kolaitzi. So here are three arrangements by Patrick Dupre Quigley. Okay. Having fun so far? Again, thank you for, I know it feels so odd to have to feel so stuffed up, and we want usually the audiences just to have the best time they possibly can. And I hope that you can between your ears, and then we'll be as quiet as we can in here. Thank you. The next piece is another early work, not quite as early as before, but this, you'll see, is in double chorus format. So this is our choir one voice per part. So if they mess up, there's no one to save them. And this is choir 2 over here, and this is a tune that, of course, we have heard, In Dulce Jubilo by Michael Pretorius. But this wonderful setting shows you the amazing ability of these composers from this era to write polyphony on what would be seemingly just a simple, beautiful melody. So here's In Dulce Jubilo. Okay, we are moving on. Now we're going to hear two pieces that are exactly the same text. It's not something we often do, but in this case I think it's actually quite interesting and exciting. The first setting of this ancient text is by John Ireland. And this particular text it discusses Adam and Adam taking the apple, which of course led, according to the legend, downfall of man. And so he lay there for 4,000 years until the birth of Christ, which brought the newness and the freeing of bondage. So the text is medieval and old, and there's been several settings of it, but John Ireland is one of the most famous ones. You probably will recognize it. From there, we'll go to a relatively new setting by the English composer Matthew Martin, and it starts out very ethereal, very kind of mysterious as we are singing about Adam making this mistake. But then as the bonds are loose, the music opens and widens and opens and opens to something beautiful and profound. So here are two settings of Adam Leibounden. Okay. Wow, that's a tough piece. So beautiful. They walk a tightrope, these singers, in some of these spots. That very last second to come to that unison, that B flat, that was worth your price of admission today. I have the best seat in the house right in front of these amazing singers. This next set of pieces are all American composers or arrangers. So the first one is called "'Twas in the Moon of Wintertime," and it's actually also referred to as the Huron Carol. And it comes from a Canadian tradition, and the melody is French originally, but the text and the idea is a part of the indigenous peoples of Canada and their kind of immersion in this story. And it's by American composer and Minneapolis-based composer Tim Takash. From there, we'll go to a melody that comes from the Basque region of Spain, that part just below the Pyrenees Mountains, northern Spain. And it's by American composer Susan Labar. This, "The Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came," feels a bit like a jaunty kind of drinking song, but in fact is this beautiful carol that will, in this particular arrangement, expand again into something quite remarkable. And then the last one in this set was a commission by Seraphic Fire from the American composer James Kallenbach. Seraphic Fire has been wanting in its entire existence to add to the canon of music that we come back to as choral and ensemble artists. And here at the holidays, we call these traditional carols, well, they have to start somewhere, right? So we decided to commission a carol. And maybe 100 years from now, they'll be saying, well, this traditional carol by James Kallenbach, All Beautiful, the March of Days. So here are 3 works by American composers. Okay. Thanks for sticking around. You're still here. Some folks have left, but you're not. You're here. This is good. That is a Seraphic Fire tradition. We've done it every single one of our 19 years of Christmases. We're in our 20th season this year, so we'll be old enough to drink next year as an organization. That's right. It's just something that's so special, and our Miami audiences have come to love it, as our Naples audiences have as well. And there was a period in our history we talked about not doing it, and thinking that the audiences wanted something different, and they called and threatened us in the office. And so we just keep it going every year. Now we're going to go to a single piece. This comes from a German carol tradition. It may not be a melody you recognize, although it's incredibly beautiful, in my opinion, the melody. And in this arrangement, you're going to hear the tenor section of Seraphic Fire line out the original melody, and then it will go into this harmonized and kind of arranged carol. It's a German story and legend about Jesus and Mary, the baby Jesus and Mary, walking in this garden, walking amongst this garden. And in the garden, there are bushes with thorns on them, but no buds, no roses, just the thorns. But as Mary and the baby Jesus walk through, buds appear, and eventually the rose opens. And so there is lots of metaphors here and allusions, of course, the thorns to what will happen to Christ later, and of course to Mary being thought of as the rose, bringing forth the bloom of Jesus Christ. So this is Maria durch ein Dornfeld ging from the German carol tradition. Okay, we're coming to our last set of music as the sun is setting in this beautiful chapel. This set of music is quite fascinating in the fact that it comes from a couple different traditions. The first one we're going to hear is Away in a Manger, but the melody that is not the American one. So you'll hear this melody set by Norwegian composer Ola Yelo, who's a bit of a minimalist, and you'll hear this chord progression that repeats over and over again. And our soloist for this will be Elise Albion. And from there, we're going to finish with two pieces from the African American concert spiritual tradition by what might be the king of the spiritual tradition, the composer William Dawson. His setting of Mary Had a Baby. Addie Sterrett will be our soloist on that. And then, of course, the coming of the Christ child is good news. So we have to end with Ain't That Good News. So here are three carols to end our program.
He is called King Jesus, mighty Counselor, King Emmanuel, mighty God, everlasting
Okay, we do have one more for you. This is the most famous carol of all time. We're going to end our concert with it today. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. We know this probably felt a little different, but you were so gracious, and we appreciate that you came and spent so much time with us this afternoon. Our very first Christmas disc in 2012 we recorded was nominated for a Grammy. We're hoping the same this time, and if so, you can say you were in the house when it happened. There are CDs available online, and you can also download us, stream us if you're into those kind of things. We've been streamed over 4 million times, this group, probably mainly Christmas music. So you've got to hear some of this live. Thank you so much. And we very much appreciate all that you do here and for the arts in this area. We are now involved in education here in Collier County, and we're going to be doing an education event this Wednesday morning for the first time ever here in Naples. So we'll be singing for elementary school children and working with them, they singing with us. So this is an exciting time for us to be over on this side of the state. We end our concert today with Silent Night. Thank you all very much.